This is Moravian. I used to call it Moravian because I never really read the sign and I thought it said Moravian, but it's because it's a back alley street kind of and you don't really pay attention. And then I realized, you know, now that my building is next to the street, that it's Moravian. Anyway, sadly, it's a back alley street that's, you know, of course, retailers and stores will put their, you know, they have their trash bins back here and everything. This is the back of a lot of stores. And they just built this brand new building called Josephine. This is the back of Josephine. And for a long time, when I first moved here, they had just like, you know, begun the foundation, or they really dug out deep, way deep down into the ground to start a foundation. So this building goes way down, you know, into a ditch or whatever. And it, you know, it's been about 3 years, I guess, 3.5 years, and now Josephine is open. I thought maybe the building of Josephine might change the landscape a little bit just because so many contractors were back here, but it really hasn't. I mean, the fact that there's dumpsters here, you know, you really can't change that. That's where people need to take out their trash and everything. Oh, they blocked off the road. That's exciting. So anyway, but I thought maybe it would change things a little bit just because there was so much going on back there. But sadly, I think more so during the pandemic, Moravian, at least that particular block by Resurrection Church, became sort of a little bit of a drug alley, if you will. So that's the Beacon we just walked by. That guy, that's another Pearl Properties building, or at least it's the back of an apartment building there. And you know, it seems really nice. I remember it going up, and at first I thought it would be condos because of the way that it looks, and some of the penthouse apartments atop the building look a certain way. But it's just apartments, and technically the reality is you might not want to live there based on the fact that when you go in and out, okay. Sorry. So that's okay. I just felt like doing a back alley scene here. But when you go in and out of the Beacon, the only entryway for residents, it's a little bit annoying because there's a bus shelter there, there's a lot of riffraff. So that would be the downside of living in the Beacon. There's some of that is also where I live at the Latham. Like, there are downsides to living in buildings in Center City, and it usually has to do with just, you know, rings of people who are attracted to the city for various reasons. And of course Philly is notoriously known for being, you know, a drug capital, if you will. Particularly for fentanyl, that's the latest, or trank or whatever. Kensington is, you know, a major hotspot. So, you know, Philly sort of has a port of entry, and I don't know what to say, but that's the, you know, the story of inner cities and stuff like that. You know, Oakland, California, San Francisco, New York, they all have similar issues. So off to my left would be the Union League, and that's a special society, I guess, or group. And they have special dinners, like father-daughter dances, and in a way it's like you belong to a club. Like, you sign up. I don't know what kind of restrictions there are. I guess, like, if you're willing to pay the membership fees, that might be the only restriction. Otherwise, I don't know how people get to, you know, decide who's going to join the Union League or whatever. You have to be willing to pay the money, basically. So But it's what I call very cherry cordial. And by cherry cordial, I mean it's dark-ish. You have, you know, say you have like modern dwellings in California and everything's light and airy and open and modern. Then you have, you know, old buildings in a city like this. Let's see how it's really, you know, kind of, you know, a darkish structure where inside everything's cherry wood. We have heavy curtains. It's, you know, pageantry. It's old school-ish. It's history. And people might join for various reasons, you know. If people still say, oh, you should go to the junior league, or the, you know, that would be, or check the Better Business Bureau, or this, that, and the other for jobs or what have you. But these days, there are so many people don't even turn to those old school things any longer. It is a way to connect with people, but it's old school. Anyway, but this is the Mid-Atlantic, the East Coast, and things, you know, still operate. Back in the day of the 13 colonies, you know. So this will always be sort of a, you know, politicized, highly politicized area. There's always stuff going on here. Old school-ish. And California can seem like light years away and modern land. Are we going straight or? So anyway, the Union League. I've worked with people who belong to the Union League, and, you know, someone just walked by saying they're nice people. And see how weird it can get, like someone else's conversation, which should be about something totally different, unless high-level Masons are at work. It ties into your conversation. You're like, that's so funny. It's such a good response to what I just said. You know, people I've worked with belong to the Union League. They're nice people, you know, and that's a separate conversation. But there are powers that be that could tie those conversations together in just this weird amoeba or matrix or blob of brains walking around, and things line up and stuff. It gets weird if things line up too much. So anyway, I would cancel plans for this barbecue. So I mentioned that there's a sign there, Hers Honey Barbecue, potato chips. It's hard to see, but it's that sign up there. I mentioned it on the video I did, you know, walking outside of the Ellen DeGeneres comedy show called Last Stand Up or whatever, which was held here in this building with the gaslit lanterns. So, and this is the Academy Theater, or the Academy House is behind it. That's that tall thing there with, it always will have like scaffolding or things that look like puppet strings. Academy of Music. And then I thought it was a little bit funny because they all